my name is Carrie Petty. I've been teaching Pilates for about 20 years, and I came to Pilates because I was a horseback riding person in dressage, and I had one of those horrible accidents that put me in intensive care and really crushed a lot of stuff on one side of my body. Somebody told me that perhaps I needed to try Pilates, as it really works on side-to-side balance. And what I found is the marriage between Pilates and dressage is amazing. If you want to be a better rider, if you want to make your horse happier, then I would suggest you try dressage. We're all sheltering at our house. Maybe this is your time to build your exercise program to develop a better seat for your dressage riding. So I'm going to break down the principles of Pilates and how that you need to take mat exercises and some of the ones you need to eliminate if you're just watching a regular Pilates class, and how you bring them back to horseback riding. Especially so many of the exercises are done on your back initially, and it really changes when you bring yourself up to a seated position. So one of the first things that you want to think about is that you want to be in a neutral spine position. So as a rider, we're trying to have the normal curves of the spine. How many times have you seen a rider that has a tendency to sit like this, or they get put in that position because they don't have enough core to keep themselves right up over top of the sit bones? I'm sure that you've seen people that start to kind of actually grip with their legs, and that's simply because they don't have enough core strength to keep the neutral spine so they stay over the center of the horse. That puts a backward drag when your abdominals move backwards on the horse's mouth too. So some of the problems that you may have with your horse will be improved with your core strength. So we're going to talk about neutral spine first. We are going to do it on the mat, and then I'll bring it back to a seated position. So if you picture a spine, you think of a curve that goes in at the neck, and then a curve that goes slightly out at the shoulders, and then a curve that goes in at the low back. Another way to think about it, and I've done this with people before, we're going to put this clock face on us when we lie down. I pinned it with a safety pin at the belly button at 12 o'clock, the pubic bone is 6 o'clock, and had people ride around on their horse in a walk in this position to try to get that alignment where 12 and 6 are right on top of each other. The reason a lot of the exercises are done on your back first is so that you can get a better feel and feedback. So if I have 12 and 6 balanced with each other, then my low back curve is defined. So I'm not going to do these exercises with my back flattened out. What happens here is I don't use the deep abdominal muscles enough, and I'm overusing my oblique muscles. We don't want to ride like this, so we're not going to exercise like this. So I want to think about reaching my tailbone toward the other side of my feet so that my pelvis stays level. The more that I build the integrity of this area with the deep abdominal muscles, the more that my joints can be freer so that I can be stiller on the horse. Right, so in this position, I want to think about 12 and 6 o'clock, and then my two hip bones are 3 and 9 o'clock. Those four numbers should be on the same level plane. We're just going to rock between 12 and 6 just to kind of get that feel. Maybe it feels good to flatten out the back. Maybe you're a little bit of a huncher. Come back to neutral, and then go ahead and arch your back the other way. So just moving here, you're starting to warm up the back. You want to know what you have a tendency to do, because some people do have a tendency to overarch their back. And then you're going to pause in the center. Right, so when we get that neutral spine position, then we're trying to build a weightlifter's belt. So this middle part of the body, when you've seen people that ride like this, collapsing in this area. Some people ride like this, arching in this area. Some people ride and their head nods. All of that means that their weightlifter's belt or their deep abdominal muscle is not engaged enough for what they are currently doing. So you have an abdominal muscle. The deepest one runs horizontal around the midsection of the body. It's what a weightlifter's belt was made to mimic. This is going to still this area. People will try to still their body by tightening their hips. The horse doesn't like that, and you can't move as well. And so we're trying to tighten this area to keep it still so that basically we can move in our posting or in our riding, that our movement can be from the hip, the knee, and the ankle, the joints. If you are not tight in your core in the midsection, then your body that seeks stability will tighten your hips and your knees. Because the body's not going to have you fall off. It wants to help itself. So you've got to either learn to get a core or you're riding tight all the time. And you can't get the best out of the horse because you're shortening their stride and you're making them look tense as they move with your tension. Okay, so a couple of ways to think about the weightlifter's belt. You can press your fingertips in about halfway between the belly button and the pubic bone. Try to draw in your stomach away from your fingertips. Remember, when you do that, it does not make you rock backwards. You're still sitting right up on top of the sit bones. Another way to feel that muscle is to kind of press in and then clear your throat or cough. You'll feel it vibrate. Another way, if you bent down to pick up something heavy, maybe a hay bale, you would probably tighten this area automatically. It is the muscle that supports the low back curve, and it's really close to this area. So it's a very strong muscle, and it is a muscle that can give you a flat stomach. So you think about compressing the front and the back of the body. All right, we're going to do a couple of mini exercises so you can start to feel just what that muscle does. So we'll be using the weight of the legs. So the first exercise, the pelvis is still. I'm just going to allow this leg to move to the side. What I don't want to have happen is the pelvis to shift or both legs to move. So I'm going to tighten the deep abdominal muscles and then slowly let the leg move to the side and then back. So again, I'm pressing my fingertips in, drawing my stomach in away from my fingertips. It shrink wraps the midsection of the body and allows the leg to move freely. Now one side is going to feel tighter than the other, so I want to do the same on one side versus the other. Good, so I'm right-handed, my right hip's a little tighter. Left leg is not as strong, but I'm more fluid in the hip joint. And then slowly back. All right, so the pelvis moving side to side is one way we can get crooked. Think of doing a lateral movement, half pass, shoulder in, where sometimes your pelvis gets on level with you hiking a hip. The other way is the front to back feel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lift the leg up to a 90-degree angle. I have a 90-degree angle at the hip and a 90-degree angle at the knee. I'm moving from the hip joints. I'm not straightening the leg. Okay. So as the leg reaches away from me, gravity starts to pull on it. The weight of the leg starts to pull on my pelvis. So I know that when it gets to a certain point, if I don't do something, my back is just going to let go because my leg feels so heavy. And that's something that I have to do, is to tighten the deep abs. So this is a small movement exercise. It's not fast. We're just not letting the leg go up and down with momentum. You're trying to get the feel. I'm sure your instructor all the time will tell you that was good. Could you feel it? Because you've got to match the feel with what's going on when it's correct. So I'm going to tighten my deep abdominal muscles, and then as the leg reaches down to the floor, I can keep my pelvis level, just like I have a glass of water balanced on my pelvis. And then slowly back up. It looks easy. A lot of times we laugh about, oh, it looks like we're doing nothing. But the weight of the leg moving away from you is a big, strong pull on your pelvis. All right, we'll switch legs again. Inhale here. Exhale, slowly reach your leg away. And then back. Abs pull up and in. Allow the weight to get low. Pull the abs in. And then slowly back. Good, one more. You can do 5 to 6 reps. And back up. So those are what we call beginner or principal exercises of Pilates. What you're trying to do is to keep the weight low in the belly. That keeps your weight closer to the horse. The horse is a flight animal. Who's ever on it, they want them to be balanced, so this weight keeps you closer to the horse. It'll be much happier. If you think of a get ready position in an athlete, they drop their weight down, front line of football player, pickleball, tennis player, they're low in that get ready position. They can all benefit from keeping those deep abs pull up and in. So that's the first thing that you want to work on. Now, if you are lucky enough to be able to get and ride your horse, 2 things I would tell you would be, if you have somebody, if you're on a really sweet horse that you have a lot of trust in, then you can try some of these exercises. Otherwise, I would wait until you have somebody that can come out with you if you don't have a family member that can perhaps walk your horse so that you can try these things. What happens when you engage your abdominal muscle is that, first of all, you'll probably just see the horse start to flick their ears. Oh, something different is going on. They might even stop if your weight has a tendency to be too high up, because that almost might be that when you drop your weight for a halt, if you have your weight centered here better, they're gonna maybe slow down, and they're just trying to kind of figure out what's going on. So those are some things that the horse is gonna do when you all of a sudden engage your core correctly. All right, I have a couple more videos coming up, and we'll work on the different basics of Pilates to get you to try that to become a better dressage rider. Thank you.